Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome indeed. I am Jack, the Lost Scholar. I am joined by the Brass Dragon. Say hello, the Brass Dragon.
Hello, the Brass Dragon.
And we are concerned for the health and well-being of our favorite gaming company, or previously favorite gaming company. Brass, they're all dead.
It was never my favorite game.
They're all dead, Brass, though. They've gutted it.
Every single thing they do makes us concerned about the future and welfare of our favorite gaming company.
Indeed.
But so the most recent news, allegedly,
out of Wizards of the Coast,
is that they have laid off Todd Kendreck. Now, we don't know what the reasons were, and to be frank, we don't care. It could have been completely pre-planned. It could have been Todd Kendreck going, "Yeah, I'll stay for another year," 1 year ago, and now he's just left. The reasons behind it are not important. The fact is,
this is on the coattails.
Yeah, this is on the coattails of a few other things. I mean, number one, I've noticed that since 2024, 5.5, whatever you want to call it, has come out. Engagement on online, which is ironic because their new CEO, Jonathan Haidt, was the CEO of World of Warcraft for a very long time. The World of War or Blizzard, should I say?
Should know how to make money out of an online space.
And his official title in WotC is President of Wizards of the Coast Digital Gaming. Right? Not physical gaming, digital gaming.
How's that working out for him?
And despite their complete heavy focus on going online, which, to be fair, I don't criticize. We're living in 2025 now, and D&D is very playable online. In fact, if anything, there should be more investment into VTTs to make them better.
Oh, you're going to ruffle some jimmies there.
I genuinely, because playing in person you can never beat playing in person.
Of course.
Playing online is, I guarantee, most people are
considering the schedules of adulthood. Yes, but I think we're getting away from the point. The point is that the structure of Wizards of the Coast, since it has had the IP of Dungeons and Dragons, is now gone. The last remnant, the last guy that had been there since the beginning of Wizards with Magic and with Dungeons and Dragons, was Christopher Perkins.
Yes.
And then you had Kendreck and the other guy's name has just escapes me.
Jeremy Crawford.
Jeremy Crawford, yeah, and he was the big guy. But you've got you're 3 for 3. They've got a hat trick of big name designers that are just not with the company anymore. And this is also, if you don't forget, I went on a rant a little while back last year of them because they removed credits from small-time contract designers from the new books. So I think what they're doing is they are just stripping credits away because they don't want designers that you can tweet at and get a ruling from, even though I don't use Crawford's rulings. I know a lot of people do, especially a mutual friend of ours who would go and treat Crawford's word as sort of like a weighty opinion to take into consideration on the rules. But you're stripping away this personable hobby. And remember, D&D has always had famous designers. Gary Gygax himself was very well known for going on forums back in the day and chatting with people playing the game and arguing about them with the rules he wrote. So you're looking at a culture shift, which has been going on for a long, long while. I'm sure our friend, the Dungeon Delver, could definitely tell us a bit more about that. But you're looking at the fruition of this shifting culture where now it's not about the brains and minds behind Dungeons and Dragons. It is about Dungeons and Dragons as a corporate lifestyle brand, which they've wanted for a while. It's what I think they've been planning towards this for a long, long while, Brass. A long, long while.
But the problem is they've shat the bed doing this, because even before these big three were laid off, they did a lot of work in advertising the new edition, which, to be fair, didn't sell all that well, but I don't think it was their fault. I actually think they did a very good job hyping it up because there wasn't a lot to hype up. They managed to do it. But like Blizzard,
down to 1.5, as you say.
Entertainment, for example, they lost almost all of their big names. Some of it was very valid as to why they lost the names, like the good riddance.
Yeah. Let's not get into that.
At the end of the day, what they were left with was a shell of the company formed mostly of newer people, or people like stepping in from Activision, which in WotC's case, Activision is Hasbro. This big company assigning people to these jobs that they know nothing about. They're just like, right, what's that? You worked on FIFA and it made 10 billion. Right, now you're in charge of D&D.
Well, that was Cynthia Williams, wasn't it? That was
literally. Well, I think
it's amazing how it was.
It
was amazing how two separate Cynthias, stabbed D&D right in the gut.
Yeah, and not only she was from Microsoft, but now we've got again Jonathan Haidt from Blizzard, and he's not from the good old Blizzard. He's from Activision Blizzard. But what I'm trying to say is that even before all these layoffs, right, engagement for D&D, it peaked just before the new edition because everyone was obviously interested. They were like, okay, what's this new edition about? And then it just fucking...
Because they bit into the sandwich and they realized it was a bleep sandwich.
The OGL scandal...
that was it for us. I mean, we were working on item cards that we had paid into to make art for. We'd put development time into. You came and lived at my house for 3 months to work on this project. We did well. They are now up for free in their very much pre-beta mode. Because after the OGL, we just said screw it, and we've released them for free over on lostlawlibrary.com if you want to go and have a look at those. But the OGL scandal, as you say, was the beginning.
That was their version. I always compare them to Blizzard because Blizzard and WotC almost identical companies. That Blizzard's version was the first of all, it was the Hong Kong thing. That a guy was saying, "Oh, free Hong Kong," all that sort of thing, and then they
I can never go to China now. You've said that.
But then, obviously, you had the scandal, which we won't get into, the big thing, which caused everyone to fuck off to Final Fantasy, and then they followed it,
including me,
with technically 3 terrible expansion releases in a row. Now, what WotC's just done, they did the OGL scandal, which caused a lot of people to be like, ooh. And the funny thing is, it was designed for control. It was like, we need to control our space more. And all it did was spawn more Pathfinders.
And things like Untold Destiny, which we've literally just finished session 4 of, and I've gone for a shower and come back, and it was like, we got on our high horses a tad. But they became their own executioner because it's the tighter they gripped, the more the sand slipped through their fingers. I think... Look, again, there is another thing we need to address with this. Like the OGL scandal was the beginning of the end. They started like the Christmas bonus thing, firing people just before Christmas and things like that. Oh, horrible thing. WotC is a horrible company. But then there's the Piece de la Resistance. Now, I'm not exactly a critter. I don't really mind Critical Role. I have no clue what Dagger Heart is about. All I know is that 2 of the blokes out of 3 have gone over to work for Matt Mercer on his game now.
Yes.
So the main money driver for 5th edition was Critical Role. That was what got people into the hobby. And now the people that worked on 5th edition have gone over to work on Critical Role's independent game.
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
Whether or not these rival games do well or not, that's beside the point. Daggerheart could flop, doesn't matter. What matters is Critical Role and 2 of WotC's very big names are no longer doing D&D.
Yep.
And now Todd Kendreck's gone. Now, for those of you who don't really know who Todd Kendreck was, he wasn't I don't think he was one of the main developers, but he was in charge of the YouTube side of things. Now, I was never a fan of the way they did their YouTube channels videos because it was very corporate. They'd have Chris Perkins, Todd Kendreck, and Jeremy Crawford sat in a room and they're talking to each other as if they don't know
let's
what
just
they're on
think about that for a second, Brass. You've got the 3 guys that are now gone from the company, and when people like this leave, it's not necessarily under a good Good Auspices. You've got 3 people that were their entire marketing thing for YouTube, which is their bit. They want a digital platform with Sigil, which failed, and they're using these 3 guys to market it. And now they are gone. They no longer have a face of the company.
Yeah,
They've just thrown these 3 out the door.
The face is gone. The trust is gone. The fan base is dwindling. And not only that, I was watching, I can't remember the name now, but someone was doing an autopsy of the new DMG. And he came up with a very good point. He was talking specifically about Bastions, but I think this can be applied to the whole edition of 2024. It was designed for Sigil.
And that's
the
gone.
VTT, which got completely gutted before it was even finished. And so that is how much of a complete failure this has been. And now all the actual competent developers gone, whether because they have stepped down because they just, they wanted to leave, or they've been laid off, completely gone. I heard floating around when they got rid of Todd Kendreck, not Todd Kendreck, that's the one just happened. Jeremy Crawford, that a lot of these big names already, like, they were coming into an end of their contract, and they just said, what we'll do is we'll help you push out the new edition, and then we're off. And that's why they've now gone.
Everything I know of WotC, from listening to Insider Leaks to reading Insider Leaks, is that it is a terrible company to work for. Really low morale. And look, I don't want to come across as someone dancing on the grave of Wizards of the Coast. One of my first videos on this channel was, oh, look, another WotC scandal. And then I was just encouraging people to say, yeah, let's just ignore this for a second, focus on the good times we've had with D&D. But on this time, no. This time, I am dancing on the grave of Wizards of the Coast, because what they're pushing out is not only subpar, it is obviously not. I don't really know how much. You say, Brass, that Jeremy Crawford, Chris Perkins, and Kendreck, that you say they sat around talking about these rules and acting as if they didn't write them. I don't think they did.
Maybe they didn't, but either way, it's not really a good look. It's kind of like
it's a terrible look.
It looks it's so corporate. They're not talking to you, the audience. They're talking amongst themselves, going, "Wow, that rule is so cool. Oh, that's amazing." No, I would like to form the opinion. Thank you very much, as the person that's going to be playing it, not you.
I don't understand how Wizards of the Coast, or Hasbro at large, a toy company and a game company, I might add, can keep being so just dystopian cyberpunk corporation levels of evil. I mean, you had the whole thing where they were sending the Pinkertons after people over magic cards that got sent out incorrectly. You've got the people firing people at Christmas. You've got the pushing out of the lead designers. You've got the absolute trashing of the name of Gary Gygax. And you've got all this, like, it really does remind me of the modern video game industry, where AAA developers will just turn around to you, flip you the middle finger, and then come crying and calling you evil when you don't buy their product. This really strikes me as that sort of attitude of, oh, they will just eat whatever slop that we put in front of them. And I think the fact that we went from, Dungeons and Dragons 2024, 2025, 5.5, whatever it's called right now, will not be on discount shelves because it's going to sell well. Remember, Brass, there was a headlines at the beginning of this year. This is the fastest selling version of Dungeons and Dragons yet. Why is it on discount shelves? Why are you failing? Where are these numbers coming from?
I was just messaging someone in Discord there. I was saying, look, they had a really good thing with 5e, which we'll talk about on Wednesday on Tittle. But they struck gold with 5e. As much as people like to whinge and cry,
justifiably so,
5e sucks. It was the most popular, hyped up version of D&D ever conceived.
The single most successful TTRPG ever made.
Now, part of that was in thanks to Critical Role, Stranger Things, Baldur's Gate 3, but they just kept shitting the bed. Constantly, they dropped it on the floor and it cracked, and then they picked it up again and they dropped it again, and it cracked, and then it's broken, and the head came off, and then they're like, and then they tried to paint it a different color,
and then they tried to charge you if you attempted to fix it.
And then they were like, they rattled it around, and then they were like trying to send it and ship it off to you as if it's a complete product. But like, I tweeted out saying this is the death knell of D&D content. It might not be the death knell of D&D because look,
definitely not.
There's still people playing AD&D from the 70s. A lot of them come
Well,
on this
Bill
show.
Sylvie, the dungeon delver that we keep
Exactly.
talking to.
So I don't think that D&D will. I mean,
It can't
maybe
die.
it will. It will
Look,
die eventually.
it's like my friend censored because banned from YouTube, and is available over on Rumble, keeps saying that Dungeons and Dragons is the name on the tent, right? If you go up to someone and you say, "Do you want to come and play Untold Destiny?" What's that? It's a TTRPG. What's a TTRPG? No clue. You go up to anyone completely outside of these very small niche circles we inhabit, and you say, "Do you want to play Dungeons and Dragons?" They'll go, "Oh, the one with the dice and the elves and stuff." Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's this is the name on the pavilion. And I think what galls people and why it gets to you and it gets to me on a somewhat spiritual level is because not only are we just in love with the fantasy genre, and Dungeons and Dragons is the fantasy genre, most accessible to us. I think it galls us on a spiritual level because Dungeons and Dragons is that name on the pavilion. Because if you've taken 2014 5th edition, which had a soul. I will say this now: 5th edition had a soul. 4th edition had a bit of a soul. 3.5 definitely had one, but 2014 had a soul. It was trying to go back to its roots and go back to that 3.5 or third phase.
D&D edition.
You go to 2024, it is a cash grab.
Oh,
it is a soulless
written
corporate cash grab.
I'm not right. The problem with WotC completely flopping like this, though, is I've always been a proponent of I would rather WotC get better and make good shit than crash and burn. The reason why, the more WotC crash and burns, which is what we're seeing now, they're a sinking ship. They're half sunk already. They're getting rid of everyone. They're moving entirely over to video games, which, bear in mind, I don't even mind that. I actually think more D&D based media is good.
Agreed.
The more they can churn out is fine. But they're moving over to video games because Baldur's Gate 3 was a big success. But as D&D itself is making less and less money,
the core product
is making less and less money. Now, I don't know if they can legally do another OGL scandal because after they tried it the first time, they did then go, right, we're putting these things out there and we can't legally ever change these. Fair enough, but that doesn't matter because what they can do and will do is make it harder for third-party content to be created around D&D, which is what's carrying it at the moment.
They've already kind of done that. I mean, you and I started writing a quite an in-depth little module called Grundleskuld's Tower. You helped me with a couple mechanics and flaws for his tower. And then they released something newsworthy that apparently under Creative Commons they can still if you were to release it under drive-through RPG, which is where it would have gone, they can just take and use it. And so they've still got these kinds of corporate claws that are greedily trying to reach out and tear the soul away from the third-party content.
Well, there's evidence of them doing this already with 2024. In the new monster manual, almost all of the new monsters aren't new. Yeah, they're stolen from third-party content.
And made worse. Like, how many times have you used the 2024 monster now? Because we play 2014, but to be fair, the 2024 monsters are somewhat compatible with 2014. How many times now have you hit me with an ability and there's no save? It just happens.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, I hit you with this plus 17 attack, you're stunned.
But we are getting away from the point, and we'll try and wrap it up a little bit. And the point is that your three big names that advertise this new edition are gone. The new edition that was supposed to be the fastest selling thing ever is dead in the water. I don't know anyone that likes this. Our progressive friend, progressive pride flag in the profile friend, he doesn't like it. So the audience that you are appealing to doesn't want it either. What is going on, Brass?
I mean, like, I've seen a lot of like D&D YouTubers move to 2024. They all did it around the same time, and I think they did it because they assumed, I will go with the new edition because that will get me more views. It's
Well,
fresh.
it's also the access culture, which I got in trouble for talking about before.
And to be fair, as you said, 2024 is actually very compatible with regular 5e. So there's not that much of a difference to their content. Like, I think Critical Role even did it halfway through their campaign. They changed
I
from
want to say,
2014,
look,
2024.
I don't want to play 2024. The problem is there's no need for it.
No, there isn't. That's again our mutual friend who may be very much on WotC's side in terms of the political side, but he is a rules lawyer. Right? He likes the mechanics and the rules, and everything he said about the new edition has been terrible. And I'm pretty sure that I don't think it's had a good reception on Reddit. It has no reception at all on Twitter because the Twitter account, which has thousands and thousands of followers, has less engagement than you do.
Which is incredible.
And hang on, let me look at their. I'm going to look right now.
I brought this up before when they were talking about that novel series, which I think never actually got written. The one with the plus size rogue.
Yeah.
They had like 2 or 3 different engagements on that post. So like, this account has hundreds of thousands of followers. What's going on, WotC?
So I typed in Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube just then, and I had to scroll really, really far to actually get to the official channel. Their last video 5 days ago, 8,000 views.
Wow.
And it's Sneak Attack just got smarter.
Mate, I don't want to brag. And guys, thank you very much for watching. Do click the like and subscribe button. But a lot of the videos we've done recently are quite niche and get like 100 views. One of my more recent videos that sort of isn't in the TTRPG niche got like 4,500 views. So the fact that I'm kind of in the ballpark of a WotC video, what the hell's going on?
There was a whole thing about rogues recently. And on the back of it, WotC released this probably AI generated article about rogues. And it was talking about a rogue soloing a troll. I think it was watched as this rogue from 2024 solos a troll. And it doesn't actually do any mechanics. It's just describing what the rogue does. And it's because of your swift speed, you dodge all of its attacks, and you do this and that and this. And it reads like an AI article, and it's like,
I mean, for legal purposes, I will not make the accusation. I will simply say I'm suspicious.
But D&D Beyond is dead.
If you've got your D&D Beyond subscription back, by the way, shame on you. Cancel that.
It's pointless to have. No one cares about it.
Look, like I said to RuneSmith on Tittle the other week, I am firmly in the camp of not one more gold piece to WotC.
See, I'm not, but I will only buy something that I think is going to be good. I didn't buy the Player's Handbook of 2024 because I have no intention of fucking playing that edition at all. I bought the Monster Manual because they hyped the shit out of that, and the DMG because I was
furious. To be fair, the Monster Manual does improve the monsters from 1 round to 1.5 rounds.
Well, yeah, it's very true. But there are good things in the Monster Manual. There's not really anything good in the DMG is a copy paste of 2014, but somehow worse. The new Monster Manual is a copy paste of 2014, and then they stole a couple third-party monsters that the cast Gravecaller. Oh my fucking
right.
God.
We're getting way off track. That's another rant. You can have a solo rant if you like. I'll upload it.
In the later half of the stream on Wednesday, I'm sure we'll probably
it'll come up. Guys, you should go and watch Tittle on Wednesdays. They're great. But we have been going for nearly 25 minutes. So go ahead and just have like 2 minutes to yourself. What is eating the brass dragon?
Mate, I really want D&D. Make D&D great again.
Oh God!
Now, honestly,
like so many people.
It's fine, but like, I think the only hope for D&D, they have to sell the IP to another company, and that other company. Bear in mind, this is an incredibly slim chance any of this shit is ever going to work out. Right, they'll probably sell it to Microsoft.
Be careful what you
will put it on the Game Pass.
Be careful what you wish for, because the Elven Maiden, our mutual friend, has floated the idea to one Elon Musk And Elon Musk has entertained it, and he is in contact with some of the original D&D
He
guys from back
floated
in the
the,
day.
and I'm not even gonna lie, I have opinions on Elon Musk.
Oh, so do
but
I.
to be honest, if he bought D&D, it can't get any worse. So, like, just honestly, just do something.
anything, just get it
Something with
away
the
from
IP.
Hasbro.
Just do anything with it.
It's not going to happen. Dungeons and Dragons will not be gotten away from Hasbro because it's the only thing propping that company up. And now it doesn't have its three main guys, and two of them have gone over to probably one of their soon-to-be major competitors. Because I think Daggerheart, while it kind of hit slowly, and then a few days later was boom everywhere. So I'm thinking we should keep an eye on that. I might give it a try at some point, but not anytime soon because I'm enjoying Untold Destiny. If you want to watch us play some Untold Destiny, those videos are available on my channel. A like and a subscribe would be absolutely brilliant on this video. Do leave a comment for the algorithm. And hey, if you want to go and follow Brass Dragon on X, you can do so at the Brass Dragon 1, I believe, over on X.
True.
Sometimes he posts. Obviously, you can follow me on at Lost Scholar over on X. And if you want some fancy dice, you can click the affiliate link below and use code LostLaw at checkout to get some nice dice from Only Crits at a bit of a discount. Brass, I think we need to go and have a cup of tea and lower our blood pressure.
Agreed.